You can travel for back in time here. A secret place. Where shall we go today? The seeker of the blue bird that shines with moonlight. He never left. The village bathed in moonlight. The young man's name was Aya. He had never, not once since birth, stepped outside his village. There was no need to. The village, located at the western edge of the world, was small, quiet, and lacked nothing. During the day, the wind passed through the fields, and at night, the moon always rose. Aya grew up without ever doubting that this was the normal way of the world. A night with the moon. When night fell, the village was wrapped in a soft silver glow. The rooftops, the roads, even the shadows of the villages were gently outlined by the moonlight. Aya loved looking at the moon. He didn't know why. Just gazing at it brought a quiet calm to his heart. One night, as he stared at the moon as usual, he suddenly felt a question arise. Why is it so bright? A question that had never formed in his mind before. Why he had never known the outside world. In the village, few spoke of the world beyond. Travelers never came. Messengers never arrived. There were maps, but their edges were drawn vaguely. They say people used to come and go. But no one knew more than that. But everyone was happy because they loved their home. Aya had walked to the edge of the village. Yet somehow, he could not step beyond it. There was no boundary line. Only, the moonlight didn't reach there. Since childhood, he had found this mysterious. He finally left. The old woman's house. At the edge of the village, an old woman lived alone. The villagers called her the storyteller. She only spoke on nights when the moon shone. Aya, drawn as if by fate, visited her house. I knew you would come, the old woman said, as soon as she saw him. The tale of the blue bird. Sitting in front of the bonfire, the old woman quietly began her story. There is a blue bird that shines with the same light as the moon. Those who see it learn the secrets of this world and touch their destiny. But no one has ever truly seen it. At least, no one has returned alive. Aya held his breath. But there was one. The old woman continued. Many centuries ago, in a land far to the east, someone was said to have seen the blue bird. That person belonged to an ancient bloodline of the Knightly Kingdom, and eventually vanished from history. Only their name remained, as a story passed down through time. The small tapestry. The old woman stood and opened an old box. Inside was a small tapestry. When touched by moonlight, Its blue threads glimmered softly. "This belonged to that person," she said. When Aya touched it, his heart trembled violently. He did not know why, but he was certain that he was meant to receive it. The village's secret. Finally, the old woman said, "Have you ever wondered why only this village is bathed in moonlight?" Aya could not answer. The old woman smiled. "The answer lies outside the village." That night, Aya could not sleep. Every thought of the outside made his chest tighten. Yet, strangely, he also felt calm. He had to go. Departure. Before dawn, Aya left the village. Without telling anyone. Without looking back. The moment he stepped away, the moonlight vanished. The world was wrapped in a quiet darkness. It was not evil. It was only the beginning of his trial. Aya, holding the tapestry to his chest, walked eastward. The blue bird had not yet appeared. But even then, the fate of the world had already begun to move. Endless night. Departure to the world without a moon. How far had Eel walked since leaving the village? When he turned back, the moon was no longer there. More than that, the sky itself was clouded, as if rejecting something unseen. In the village, the moon always rose at night. He had never once doubted that this was the natural order of the world. But now, the moon was nowhere to be found. The land that lost its light, even during hours that should have been daytime. The land lay in dimness. The sunlight did reach the earth. And yet, something essential, something that could be called brightness, was missing. The grass swayed, but its shadows were indistinct. The wind blew, but carried no warmth. Eel thought to himself, was the world always this quiet? It was not fear he felt. Rather, it was the uneasy sensation of being watched by something vast. One who crossed the boundary. Now that he had left the village, Eel was beginning to understand. That village had been protected by the moonlight. Why it had been protected? By whom? And for what purpose? Those answers still had no shape. And yet, the tapestry at his chest would occasionally glow with a faint blue light, as if whispering, "You are on the right path." The forest of elder fog. Before long, the mist grew thick. The overlapping shadows of trees narrowed his vision. The forest of elder fog. On the village map, it bore only a brief note. The forest of losing one's way. The fog swallowed sound and stole all sense of distance. Trees just a few steps ahead appeared as though they stood somewhere else entirely. Eel stopped many times. And each time, the tapestry shimmered faintly. That light did not so much show the way. It seemed to tell him, do not stop. Darkness is not an enemy. Deep within the forest, Eel sensed something move. It might have been a beast. It might have been a person. But it did not attack. The darkness did not reject him. It was simply testing him. Would he be swallowed by fear? Or would he trust and move forward? Eel clenched his empty hand, the hand that held no sword, and kept walking. A faint glow. The stone-speaking road. Beyond the forest, the ground beneath his feet turned to stone. An ancient road, worn down by countless footsteps. The stone-speaking road. When the wind blew, the stones murmured softly. It was not sound. It was memory. Those who had once walked this path, knights who served their king, travelers who carried wishes in their hearts, and those who never returned. Eel's steps grew heavy. Even so, the road led only forward. Thoughts turned toward the far east. Gazing toward the end of the road, Eel recalled the old woman's words. Those who have seen the blue bird have touched the fate of the world. Hundreds of years ago, there had been only one. That person was said to be tied to the ancient bloodline of the Kingdom of Knights. But even the kingdom was not the destination. Beyond Astral, a place remembered only by name. Eel did not yet understand its meaning. Still, something deep within his chest was unmistakably calling to him. Before the Starless Ridge. At last, a shadow appeared on the horizon. Black. Sharp. A chain of jagged ridges. The Starless Ridge. There were no stars in the sky. No moon. And yet, it was not complete darkness. The tapestry shone brighter than ever before. Its blue threads pulsed, as if alive. So this is it. Eel understood. This journey was no longer one meant for returning. The moment it becomes an adventure. When he left the village, this had been a journey of inquiry. But now, it was something else. Something at the very edge of the world was beginning to choose Eel. He took one step onto the Starless Ridge. Behind him, the stone-speaking road fell into silence. Without a sound. Deeper into the moonless world. The blue bird was still nowhere to be seen. And yet, from this moment on, Eel had undeniably stepped into the fate of the world itself. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel. Happiness for all viewers.